is a shareholder proposal requesting a report related to labelling of food produced with genetic engineering. Mr. David Murphy is with us today, representing the sponsor of the proposal. And Mr. Murphy, I'd like to invite you to present the proposal now.
Hi, Mr. Grant, Monsanto Shareholders. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Dave Murphy, and I'm the founder and executive director of Food Democracy Now!, we're a grassroots movement of more than 650,000 farmers and citizens dedicated to reforming food and agriculture. I'm here today as proxy on behalf of Adam Eidinger, Monsanto Shareholder, who is outside right now, exercising his right of civil disobedience against the policies of Monsanto. Mr. Eidinger, as you've said, has submitted a proposal to the board of directors to support labeling of genetically engineered foods. To say for myself, I've spent my life growing up in small towns in northern Iowa. I know the importance of agriculture, and I know many farmers who plant Monsanto seeds and other farmers who sell them. These are good people, but even they distrust this company because of its heavy-handed practices against family farmers and Monsanto's known reputation for bending our nation's laws and regulatory policy to their will. So I had the honor of serving as a co-chair of Prop 37, and I worked last year to pass GMO labeling bills in Maine and Connecticut. Right now, there's a growing movement to label genetically engineered foods. I'm sure as Monsanto shareholders, you're very aware of the publicity that this company receives every day. But fundamentally, Monsanto has chosen, unfortunately, to resist the rights of American people. In California, in 2012, the company spent $8.1 million to deny Americans the right to know what's in their food. Last year in Washington, we lost a ballot initiative, an important ballot initiative. Monsanto spent $5.1 million. To say right now, there is an important movement to assert our basic democratic rights to know what's in our food. And we fundamentally believe this is something believed by millions of mothers, farmers, and lawyers across the country. Right now, 26 states have GMO labeling bills in them. Fundamentally for us, this is a democratic right. We believe that lack of transparency is not good for free markets or democracy. In a free market, consumers need basic information to make informed decisions, and denying simple labels means Monsanto is not an honest player in America's market. And millions of Americans are coming to realize that. Already, Monsanto labels products in 64 other countries around the world. Why not America? At this moment, citizens in all of Europe, India, South Africa, Russia, China enjoy this basic right. But Monsanto tells the Americans, we don't have a right to know what's in our food. Even citizens in Monsanto, CEOs, Hugh Grant's home country of Scotland, have the right to go to a grocery store. Hugh Grant's family in Scotland has the right to go to a grocery store and buy additional products with a label that says this food contains genetically engineered ingredients. We want you to vote yes for labeling of genetically engineered foods. It is a vote in favor of free markets. It is a vote in favor of capitalism. It is a vote in favor of democracy. And more importantly, a vote in favor of freedom. Freedom of consumer choice in America is a very important thing. And we believe that all American corporations support this. And we would ask respectfully that Monsanto and the Grocery Manufacturers Association stop fighting the will of the American people, something that 90% of the American people regularly support, labeling genetically engineered foods, and this is a bipartisan issue. We understand that Hugh Grant has recently sold some shares, $5 million in them. We believe that it's a smart business decision to support mandatory labeling of genetically engineered foods. We believe this movement against this company and against our right to label genetically engineered foods is only going to continue to grow. Last year alone, almost over 1 million people marched in over 500 cities around the world. It's because of this company's practice. I'm asking you today to honor this basic democratic right and label genetically engineered foods. It is a sound business decision. If you want to see your profits soar, you can follow in Chipotle's footsteps. We saw when they announced that they were going to label ingredients in their stores, they skyrocketed over 40%. So thank you very much. I'd like you to vote yes in favor of labeling genetically engineered foods.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'll remind you, we have the opportunity in the Q&A session to come back on any of these topics, but thank you for outlining your proposal. Beginning on page 76 of the proxy statement, share owners had the opportunity to read the proponent's supporting statement on this proposal in addition to what Mr. Murphy has covered today. Let me try and summarize the position of your board of directors. It matters to all of us where our food comes from, how it's produced, and how its safety is ensured. As a seed company, and that's what we are, that participates in the early stages of the agricultural food chain, I can assure you that we are actively listening to and participating with others in this ongoing dialogue about food. We strongly support a voluntary labeling approach and the FDA's current guidance on food labeling, which is based on the attributes of the food itself. This voluntary labeling approach empowers people who may choose to avoid GM ingredients, a choice that some people prefer, but without imposing new burdens or costs on people who don't choose organic or non-GM products. The food companies are already providing this type of choice today for consumers who prefer to purchase non-GM foods through organic offerings or by voluntary labeling systems, by labeling their products as non-GM. While we support the choice to voluntarily label, we oppose the current initiatives to mandate GM labeling. Such mandatory labeling could imply that food products containing these ingredients are somehow inferior or unsafe, and it would impose higher costs on people who currently choose not to pay for organic or certified non-GM products. We understand that there's an ever-increasing interest in the food that we eat and where it comes from. And while the science isn't new, people have questions and we need to do our part to answer them. We need to do a better job in that. As a leader in the ag industry, we have an obligation to listen and engage in dialogue so our stakeholders are informed, and it's something that we know we need to work harder at. When I look back over the last several decades, I realize that our business has done a really good job of engaging with the science community, the agricultural chain, and our farmer customers. We simply haven't engaged enough at the level that we should have with all the audiences, and for that, we apologize. I apologize myself. You know, hindsight's an important thing in this, and in our case, it's helped us to change how we can listen and how we engage more with stakeholders across the chain. This is something that I and the leadership team that I introduced earlier today and others throughout our company have increased in the last year, certainly since our last shareowner meeting a year ago. We're actively working to listen and engage more and more, and you can expect that this will only continue to be a part of the DNA of who we are as a business for the years ahead. We're committed to transparency and dialogue about biotechnology and our products, both with our customers and with consumers. This includes providing more information to consumers to help them make choices about what foods to buy and eat, as long as it includes accurate, science-based, and useful background information. And it reflects the perspective of everyone, from the farmers who grow food to the people who eat it. So, Mr. Murphy, I thank you again for your proposal, and I would ask, within the confines of the proposal, if there's any discussion that's related specifically to this shareowner proposal. And in addition, we'll have the opportunity to come back in the Q&A period. And if I could remind you, sir, if you could contain your remarks to 3 minutes and introduce yourself to the other shareowners.
Absolutely. Thank you, Hugh. My name is Justin Danhof. I'm speaking as proxy for shareholder Amy Ridenauer in opposition to shareholder proposal number 1. Proposal 1 seeks mandatory labeling of food that discloses whether, quote, genetic engineering was used to produce the food, end quote. This proposal is completely unnecessary for Monsanto's corporate purposes and, more importantly, unnecessary for health purposes. GMOs are mainstream agriculture. They feed people more efficiently. GMO crops are more environmentally friendly than conventional crops. Numerous scientific bodies have determined that these foods are safe, including the National Academy of Sciences, the American Association for the Advancement of Science, the American Medical Association, the Royal Society of Medicine, and the World Health Organization. Literally hundreds of studies have confirmed that these ingredients are safe. But some say, why not label the foods anyway? Because there are huge barriers, including technical difficulties that would largely be borne by retailers, not Monsanto, in getting these labels right. And because of that, labeling would add unnecessary costs to the price of food. The organic food industry has been funding calls for mandatory labeling because they believe such labels will scare people and cause them to buy more organic products. In other words, they're in it for the money. We don't begrudge them that. They have the right to spend their money as they wish. But we have the right to care more about good policy than their pocketbooks. GMO foods are a great gift to mankind. They lower costs, allow farmers to produce food in a more sustainable way, and as the Gates Foundation has pointed out, show great promise for ending world hunger and malnutrition. Some people fear GMO foods because they can't tell the difference between them and more traditionally grown foods. But fear isn't always rational, and when it isn't, we shouldn't let it make our decisions for us. I urge shareholders today to vote against shareholder proposal number 1. Thank you.
Very much.